Hey guys, what's up? Raven Safe Haven here, and today I wanted to bring you guys a video that I thought kind of needed to be bringing to a lot of people's attention, because this deck is so overrated, personal opinion. Now, um, Evilswarm is a good deck, and I'm not gonna take that away from it. I'm not gonna say that it's a bad deck, but it's definitely not a really great deck, and I'll explain why in a minute. But my friend in school, builds this deck, and then like everyone at school saying, "Oh, it's broken." No, it's very consistent, which is a great thing, and it can make rank 4 exceeds. But other than that, it's at my school it's bad because what do you do? Like my school is a very diverse school when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. Gravekeepers, Gishki. Gishki obviously has a terrible matchup against this. But, all these things, and everybody's saying it's broken, and I just want to slap him and say, no, it's only good as Ophion is. And this is why. Evilswarm is only as good as the meta can be. So if the meta is filled with stuff like Prophecy, stuff like Mermails, stuff like E-Drags, and, if you play it, Chaos Dragons, big whoop, then yeah, this deck's gonna be good. But as soon as you take out Mermails and Prophecy and E-Drags, what is this deck going to be left to do? I mean, seriously, like no other deck that I can ever think of really cares about this card. Yeah, okay, it can search for an evil swarm infectation. So no, me playing Inzektor's Hornet doesn't pop Ophion. Big whoop. But when you think about it, frogs, it's cool. I Treeborn, enemy controller, take Ophion, sack the Ophion. Now what? Like, it becomes to a point where Ophion is as good as the deck can make it. Like, I'll say Bahamut is really good, and Ouroboros is very good, but I feel like those are kind of the underdogs of the deck compared to Ophion because Ophion stops so much more. And I don't see why people think this card is near godlike when it's not. You match it up against Dark World, you match it up against Inzektor, we just make the 32 and we run over it and hope we don't run into a trap, which we probably popped already. But we run it over with Inzectors. Grapha pops it unless you want to play safe zone, which you probably are going to do. But my point is when you just put it up against like so many more decks that are still meta, like there's not much you could really do about it. I mean, obviously, I know that E-Drags are busted and Prophecy's good, and people are going to be playing this. And Evilswarm players, have fun with those matchups. Pretty sure you're going to be laughing and trolling. But, what happens when, you're 1-1 away from your top and you're on a Monarchs? Then what? There's nothing that you can do, like, card-wise, that I feel like gives the deck more backbone support other than what rank 4 exceeds can make it. All it is a bunch of spamming, and sadly, that's what it is. You have to look at this deck to where the other cards in this deck give it no win context. Let's take Dark World for example. Yeah, I mean, Dark World never really goes into exceeds because the deck wins on its own. They go, okay, graph, pop, return, graph. A very simple engine. Now, I'm not a fan of Dark World, but I had to support it. And 6Ms, I mean, granted, I know that they're very synchro and XYZ reliant, but the fact that it stops you and it locks you out is very good. So I'm not going to go to the Sam's argument. Alright, another deck, Frog Monarchs. Yeah, we can go into Photon Strike Bouncer, but it's cool because we're gonna sack Caius and banish something of yours. We're gonna take your monsters, tribute it, and then banish something of yours. It's just the deck wins on its own, and I feel like Evilswarm is kind of lacking that. Decks that can play both are just better decks in my opinion. And I'll go into Inzectors because you all know that I'm gonna say Inzectors because I'm an Inzectors fan. We can break the exceeds, and sometimes we do. We have to levy our stuff back sometimes, but the deck can win on its own. Okay, Hornet Dragonfly win, and that's what your win condition is. And I feel like that's what the deck is kind of lacking. I mean, sure they use Dark Arm Dragon, but this deck, in my opinion, just needs more support. Like it's not a bad deck. I would love to see this deck, you know, get like a little bit more support and be able to win on its own without having to make Ophion. Because I know you guys have played countless games where you guys have been playing something and you never had to go into it exceed. It's just like there's no need to because the deck can win on its own. And I'm just stating some prime examples that in this current meta, decks that don't have to go into huge exceeds or don't have to always go into exceeds are kind of better. Now, I'm gonna kind of not withdraw that statement, but say that when E-Drags come out, if we get the itty bitties, Draco Sack's a bitch. And like that's obviously a different win condition, but it's cool. They go Drago Sack and then drop it for the lad, and the lad becomes the win condition. It's not the Draco Sack. The Draco sets up for a lot more plays, but it's the lad that locks you down, and you're just like, well, there's nothing to do now but scoop. And I feel like that's a lot of people, or that's where a lot of people are kind of overestimating what Evilswarms can do. Now, if they come up with a little bit of support, like I don't know, maybe a beater that can banish a dark and then pop one, like that'll be fine because it's gonna keep that graveyard control for Dark Arm. It's gonna have a little bit more like good win condition cards, and I feel like that's what the deck is really lacking. The deck is like just kind of relying on Ophion to be their win condition. And as long as you get around that, you're fine. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry, I feel like I kind of had a rant, just a little bit, but just you know, subscribe, be happy, 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 happy.